Welcome to the first Sportspath of the 2012 school year. New places, new faces throughout our conferences, and I'm in studio here. I'm Tim Peterson. Next to me, Zach Halverson. Welcome, Zach.
Thanks, Tim. It's great to be here, and it's great to be covering some of the best schools in the state. On today's show, we will get you caught up on what's been going on in the Classic Suburban Conference and also in the Suburban East. Tim Peterson will introduce you to one of the conference's new coaches, and Jamie Dustin had some fun at White Bear Lake's homecoming events.
Well, Nick Anderson and I recently went out to a Hill Murray football practice and got to know former NFLer and Rose Bowl winner Brooks Bollinger.
Start off with my dad. My dad was a college coach for a long time. He's at the University of North Dakota, really, for the most part, when I was growing up. So I was always around him and his teams, and he certainly had a big influence on me in a lot of ways, but his coaching style, and then I was very fortunate to have a lot of great coaches all the way up. And I started in high school, Mike Berg, Grand Forks Central, to Barry Alvarez at Wisconsin. Was around a number of people in the NFL, and just like I did as a player, try and take things I like from each person. And really, for me, it's still a growing process right now. This is new for me, so I'm growing into it, and kind of learning as I go and continuing to get better and better. It's Monday, so it's getting back, getting the week started, getting the rust off them from the weekend, and just get them out here moving around and start to get an understanding of what we're going to see from Simile this week.
Monday practice, we didn't get out here till 4:30 today because we were in meetings for 2 hours, just going over plays, going over what we did wrong last week so we can get better for next week.
Huddle, right here, set a jink. I want to have a system that can stand the test of time, but it has to be able to form to the players that you have.
I'll just really fast tempo, run the ball, and then passing when we need to, or vice versa, depending on how our run game's doing, but just a lot of energy. I really like it.
Here we go. On the ball, on the ball, on the ball. Football comes down to blocking and tackling and getting the ball into your best players' hands and letting them make plays. We're a smaller school. We don't have a ton of numbers out for football, and we need everybody in that locker room playing to their best of their ability, and that's the only way we're going to be successful.
We're 4-1. That's the best we've been in a while, so can't argue with that.
Timeout. I think for about the first 10 minutes, maybe a couple of them were like, oh, he played or whatever, and then after that it wore off pretty quick. And I tell people at the end of the day, they're going to respect me if I'm a good football coach, and not for anything else. I think I need to they see right through any of that other stuff, and it just comes down to doing a good job by them, and that'll earn their respect.
Ready!
Motion! Son! I think everybody has that in their life where they look back and said, oh, if I knew then what I knew now. Just trying to grab these kids and say, you got a great opportunity in front of you, and it's a special time to be able to play high school football, and want them to make the most of it and help them get the most out of their experience here at Hill Murray. So they're not only better football players because of it, but they're better people when they leave here, and they'll always look back, whether they go on to play in the NFL or they never play another snap after they leave Hill Murray, and they say, being a part of the Hill Murray football program was a positive influence in my life and a special time.
There you go. Thanks to Coach Bollinger and Dave Simmet for that interview. Well, Matamidi took on Tartan in volleyball back on September 15th, and here's what happened during that game.
And tonight we got volleyball action starting right now on your plate over that. Worked around.
So here's the game getting off right away, and 7-6 after Chelsea Colander spikes it. Then Keisha Matson spikes that for Tartan. Matamidi gets a spike from Lauren Moore that lands just inside the end line. And Tartan wins the first set 25-21. Lauren Moore with a spike in the second set, but Tartan still leads 5-2. Colander hits to the right spot, and Maggie Germscheid can't return it. And Matson hammers down a spike. Morris sends it to the middle of the defensive zone, and no play can be made there defensively. Coach Abby Olson trying to inspire her girls. Anna Franco sets it to Matson, who spikes again. Then Franco sets up Bethany Rylicki, who has just the right touch, and Tartan takes the second set 25-18. Here's Matson again with a power spike from the opposite position for the point. Then Colander, she'll get up and spike one down. A lot of spiking on this Tartan team. Also, on the other side of the ball, Gina Fangle with a spike. But Matson won't be outdone as she hammers another one down. And then Madison King, she gets a recovery shot that hits the net. Wait for it. There, and drops right in nicely. Then Colander says, I've had enough of this game. She spikes it, and that does it. Tartan sweeps match 25-23.
Just a great job.
Victory.
All by the whole Tartan Titans.
Kaisa Matson, member of the Tartan Titans. They are coming off a win over the Mahtomedi Zephyrs, 3-0. The final. And first of all, Kaisa, talk about this game. You guys look like, you know, pretty solid the first two matches or first two games. Third game, you kind of slowed down a little bit. What was what changed to go from that? What was a 19-12 score to what eventually came out 25-22 final?
We came out really strong. I mean, we were super energetic. Everybody was excited. I mean, it was just, I mean, we came out strong. And then the third game, we just, I don't know, we started making mistakes and got down on ourselves. I mean, we just came together as a team towards the end just to finish it through. I mean, yeah.
And, you know, looking at this now, you're a little bit taller than me. How is the height giving you an advantage in volleyball this season?
Well, since I'm a middle, it's really helpful when I block because then I can get over the net, and then when I hit, it's easy to like get around the block, over the block. I mean, it's nice to be tall. So.
Now talk about your teammate Angie Perel. She's coming off an injury, popped her shoulder out last week. What was it like to see her back on the court right away again?
It was amazing. I mean, it was such a bad injury, and when she came back, she was flying across the court. I mean, she was digging balls that I didn't even think I could dig. I mean, I'm a middle, but she's amazing.
You're only a junior right now. You got a couple years. You got about another year to think about it. What is your future going to be like after Tartan High School?
After Tartan High School. Going to college. I am looking at some colleges right now. I mean, it's a long process. I am looking at Milwaukee. I really do like Milwaukee. So, I mean, it's just a long process. It's hard to choose which college I want to go to. So, yeah.
Well, good luck, and we might see you again this season, and for sure next season as well. There you have it, folks. Once again, the final here from Mahtomedi High School, 3-0 Tartan. Tartan would look to continue their winning ways as they took on North St. Paul on September 20th. North St. Paul Polars, Tartan Titans. Here's Angie Perel with a spikes kicking off the game. And Anna Franco spikes taps one over for the point. Here's Morgan Bryn with a spike for North St. Paul. And here's Jazgulski as she gets blocked at the net by Matson. Perel gets blocked here by, or I'm sorry, it was Aaron Prax getting blocked by Tia Elbert. And here is Franco getting set up by Colander for a spike. Over the net now, there is Jaskulski gets set up by Bryn for the spike.
A little off. There's Elbert getting up, and she'll spike that one down. But it's out. Jaskulski, that's Sophie Jaskulski playing well, and that one just drops in there again by Jaskulski. Then a nice serve for the ace by Cassie Krenz, and the set is tied at 1-1. Bryn then sets up Jaskulski for the tap over. And Perel will tap one over for the point. And Colander. Well, that looked like Matson there with a hard spike. Rachel Varon gets blocked at the net by Colander and Matson. Tartan takes a 2-1 match lead.
And here is Bryn now. She sets to Jaskulski, who gets blocked by Perel. And the Tartan Titans now 3-3 in the fourth set. There's a nice spike there by Bryn. Franco gets set up there by Relicki, who just hits it in.
North taps one over for the point there. And here's a spike by Jaskulski through a block attempt. And everything's tied up at 2-piece. Relicki. Well, that ball just gets pushed where nobody is by Matson. And Perel will spike it to the back row. Tartan gets a service ace there. Answering back, and Pearl taps one over again for the point. Franco once again. She'll set up Colander this time for the power spike. And then Albert goes up for the block at the net. And that would give Tartan the victory, 3-2.
Make that 7-4 overall. North St. Paul 4-2.
Here with Angie Perel, member of the Tartan Titans volleyball team, after a huge win over the North St. Paul Polars. Angie, what's it like to beat the rival North St. Paul?
It feels so good. They're our biggest rival, and after we haven't beat them for like 3-4 years now, and after that, beating them home especially feels amazing.
Let's talk about you. First of all, you coming off an injury. Did it hurt? Did it affect you at all? Did it hurt you, or were you completely 100% fine?
Oh, I was 100% fine. Like going out, especially against North, I just shook it off, and I got to play, and it just made me feel great.
All right, now you're chasing the conference leader, Hill Murray. What are the Pioneers like? When do you look to do later in the season? Try to overpass them.
They're just like North, and we just gotta play our hardest. And if that's not good enough, we know that we played our hardest. But I know we have a chance of beating them, and hopefully we'll come out with a win.
Thanks, Angie. Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, here's a look at the Classic Suburban standings so far this year. And Hill Murray undefeated at the top of that. And Tartan, they've been playing nicely as we've seen them beat North St. Paul there. And those two teams right there for second and third. Matamidi around the bottom of the pack, though. Trying to keep improving and getting better. And we'll take a look at the Suburban East with Cretin-Durham Hall leading the way. Stillwater and Mounds View both right there. White Bear Lake having a tough season so far, but at least you can say their conference record is still perfect. Moving on to soccer, Matamidi has been having another great season and find themselves ranked #2 in the most recent polls. On September 16th, the Tartan Titans took on the Matamidi Zephyrs at Matamidi.
And you're watching
actually
TV 19.
The 6th of September. And here we go with the soccer action. It's Chelsea Henry kicks off the scoring when Stephanie Walters comes way out of net, and Henry dances right past her for the goal. And as we move on later in the first half, Courtney Neville receives a nice pass through the traffic for the goal to even the score at 1. That was a nice goal. It was. And moving on here, late in the first half, a corner kick by Megan Koenig gets mistakenly kicked into the own net by Tartan, and Matamidi goes in front by a goal. Oh no, and then it's Henry. Look at this nice dribbling. She gets around the defender and puts it in that far top shelf corner. And Matamidi wins this one 3-1. Some real good shots right there, Zach. Well, Hill Murray, they put their undefeated conference record on the line back on September 8th. With Matamidi visiting the Pioneers. More girls soccer. Well, University of Minnesota bound Mayhan Bolton gets things started with a goal from the top corner of the net, putting the Zephyrs up at 1. She keeps going again as she boots this one in left-footed for her second goal of the game. Dana Savino gets one now for the Hill Murray Pioneers as she puts one past Kaylin Summer, putting the score at 2-1 Matamidi. Continuing on, a lucky bounce puts Zephyrs up 3-1 as Bailey Link was unable to handle that one. Here's Meehan Bolton now as the ball is set down there. She kicks one behind her, and Sarah Kowski, a beautiful play, heading that one in and continuing that dominance for Matamidi. And continuing on here is Meehan Bolton finally getting the hat trick as she was able to sneak one by the goaltender with a nice little slide on her right foot. And finally, the final goal of the game, Meehan Bolton scores again after a shot off the post by Sarah Kowski. It was a nice rebound. She was able to finish. The dominant forward for Matamidi Zephyrs tonight. And first of all, what a season, your perfect record. Just talk about it. What was it like to have a perfect season?
Just great. I mean, our team's really pushed forward. We've worked really hard at practice, tryouts, everything, and I don't know, we wanted it, so we did it.
Talk about that camaraderie. You seem to have a lot of team chemistry out there. What's it like playing with your team?
It's great. I mean, it sucks that I'm graduating because I want to play with this team all year, or every single year, but our team's just so close, and it's not like we're a team, it's more like we're family than anything, so.
and you know, you had a dominant performance tonight. I believe it was your second goal, or actually Sarakowski's goal. Was that intended pass to her when you kind of flipped it over your head?
It was either, I mean, I knew she was there, so it was either kind of a try to shoot it, or if she's there, you know, have her put it in.
It was a nice pass, nice assist regardless, and you know, you got the playoffs now. Is there any special preparations, or are you just going to go with what you've been doing?
Probably just go what we've been doing. I mean, we're AA for section, so it's going to be a little bit harder, but I mean, we'll practice. We've played AA teams before, so, you know, we know what is coming.
And you're a senior now. Is there anybody you'd like to thank, family members, friends?
I'd like to thank my family members, my past coaches, all these coaches, family and friends that support me. So.
Thanks a lot. And once again, the final score here for Mahtomedi. It is Mahtomedi 6, Hail Mary 1. Here are the standings so far this year in girls soccer, and you look at Mahtomedi dominating the conference 10-0. Hail Mary not far behind, but they're 8-2 as well. You see another Fab 5 team, Tartan 5-5, and down to North St. Paul 2-7. White Bear Lake not having a bad season on their own over in the Suburban East Conference standings, as they are 6-2, just behind the undefeated Woodbury Royals. And a great job for the White Bear Lake Bears, 6-2, and the rest of the conference looking pretty good as well.
And the East Ridge team right up in there too, as a newer school, doing quite well in sports so far this year as well. Well, Zach, homecoming's coming up, huh? Or there just was, in fact.
That's right. Homecoming is always a great time for students and alumni to get together and celebrate their school spirit.
Well, White Bear Lake recently celebrated their homecoming, and our very own Jamie Dustin was there. Welcome back to Sportspath, Jamie.
Thanks, guys. White Bear Lake is my alma mater, so homecoming time is definitely an exciting time for me. I was downtown White Bear before the football game, checking in with some very excited fans.
Go White Bear! Go White Bear! Go Royals! Senior ladies representing White Bear Lake! Go And they're gonna get their butts kicked. We're gonna win this year. Go Bears! Go Bears!
Wide open, and he's got a whole field in front of him. He's got one man, he can turn the Jets on. He's hit, but breaks it. Now he breaks free. He's got some blockers in front of him. He's up to the full.
God bless White Bear, and God bless White Bear football.
Thanks, Jamie. We will get to that game in a moment, but first, another Fab 5 team celebrated their homecoming back on the 16th of September. North St. Paul put the red, white, and black in full force as they took on the Simley Spartans.
A good crowd out there for the homecoming game, and the Pullers, they're going to kick the ball off to get this game started. First, they got to do a little celebrating. Okay, there we go. Boom. And Mustafa Shabazz, he read this play beautifully and drives the quarterback right out of bounds. And North quarterback Brady Solar, he hits Hunter Brooks for a gain. And North St. Paul defensive back Joe Raymond gets a pick off. There it is. Told you he did. And that sets up Solar to Brooks, touchdown into the corner of that end zone. North St. Paul was not done. Here they had hand off to Shabazz, and he'd run right up the gut and into the end zone for the touchdown for the Polars. Simley would answer back with a nice run down the sideline by Simley's. It's Jake Short. He'd go all the way in, not short, it's long touchdown. Now it's 15-13 in the fourth quarter after a two-point conversion failed, and the kickoff comes, and Tony Vang kind of messed it up, but he picks it up. He's not going to let that get to him. Dekes out another man, he's gone. Goes the distance, he would seal the victory with that touchdown run, and North would win this one 22-14. 13 over the visiting Spartans. Well, now to White Bear Lake Woodbury game. It was a beautiful evening, as you saw with Jamie Dustin's segment there out in White Bear Lake. The atmosphere in White Bear Stadium, it was electrifying as fans settled in to see the two teams with identical records. Both White Bear Lake and Woodbury were 3-1 going into this game and looking to get a fourth win and remain competitive with an undefeated 5-0 Cretin-Durham Hall Raiders. Go out to that game now.
A great atmosphere, and we see the first score of the game. We'll see a nice little play here. First of all, the first down, and here it is, Sawyer Moon pitching it out, and a couple more. Actually, it's a major defensive play by the White Bear Lake Bears, and watch this, a fumble, however.
There it pops loose on your bottom of your screen. I actually missed it when I called the game. But a nice job sticking with the play for Woodbury. There's Moon running in for the end zone.
Sawyer Moon on the 4-yard touchdown, giving the Woodbury Royals that 7-0 lead, and you see the massive student section by the White Bear Lake Bears.
Look at this pass, Zach.
That's right, Eric Gebke to Shane Warner, an 89-yard gain, or 89-yard touchdown, tying, well, was going to be tying the game at 7. However, the extra point was missed, and it put the game at 7-6.
And Moon fakes the give here. Does a nice little pass, and man, that receiver was wide open.
That's right, Jordan Volt on the 7-yard touchdown reception.
And here's where it gets exciting, Zach. Fake the give there.
And there's number 20, Nick Truan. Remember his number, folks. He's going to be a big player next year in his senior year. He's only a junior. Watch this, the 30, the 20, the 10, the 5, and the touchdown, getting the Bears back to 12. And now it's decision-making time. Do you go for the 1 or 2? They went for the 2. And watch this play, folks. Eric Gebke rolls out wide, and there's Marcel Williams getting that unbelievable catch, getting the foot down. Just an unreal play.
But not to be outdone, Simile says you guys can run it back all the way. Well, why can't me? Why can't we? Al Hamid. He picks it up. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your tail feathers. He's gone, folks. Hear me now. Believe me in a minute. There he goes. And not looking good for White Bear at this point as it's getting later and later in the fourth quarter.
Give it right back.
Put the game at 21-14, and a nice throw by Gebke is caught by Truan, and he was brought down to the 30, and that set up another nice little run there by Gebke, putting down the 10, and then here it is, a handoff to Truan, went left, cut in, and fought his way for the touchdown, tying the game at 21.
Yeah, not a lot of time left. Woodbury yet to turn the ball over, and they don't look to do so here as they get a nice completion there.
He dropped the ball. He fumbled it. It's picked up. Bears
and then it gets fumbled. Their first turnover. Back to White Bear Lake. Gebke going deep.
Man on man downfield. It's picked off.
And it's picked off with a minute. Look at that. A minute 2 left in the game. So you're thinking, oh boy, overtime or Woodbury can move the ball because they haven't thrown a pick. Oh, I almost said they hadn't thrown a pick. It's Brian King with the pick off, and White Bear Lake sitting pretty. And with just about a half a minute left,
Chris Zhang is there to seal, well, almost seal the deal. There was still 30 seconds left, but it basically sealed it. And that's it. Final score 24-21.
Here with assistant coach Brager. Coach, you guys are both 3-1 coming into tonight's game. What did you guys do to prepare to come out with a win tonight?
You know what? We went back to the basics. We just said, hey, we're going to go out, practice on what we do what we do best, and then we'll whatever they come up with, we'll react to it.
And what a game it was. Back and forth, back and forth. How did you keep the guys focused and keep them in the game?
I tell you what, they played a heck of a game, both offense and defense, and that's a good team over there at Woodbury. I mean, we respected them a lot. They got a lot of weapons. You know, we just I'm speechless right now. It was a heck of an effort by the kids, and they just wouldn't give up, and they kept pumping each other up. They kept pushing each other. You know, we had a saying going into this game: no excuses, okay, no explanations. Let's just go play, and whatever happens, happens.
Well, congratulations. Go celebrate.
Thank you very much.
Brian King here is the senior defenseman who got the interception at the end of the game. Brian, how are you feeling right now?
And I'm feeling pretty good right now. You know, we came out with a win. You know, we went into the locker room at the end of the first half, and people didn't have much in, like, they didn't know whether we were going to win or not. But we came out, and we made it happen.
And what were we talking about in the room to keep the momentum up and keep the attitude positive?
We're a team. We're one. It's win whatever's necessary. And we're going to that. And we got Mountain next. Let's go!
The game, and so congratulations. Have a great night.
And now let's take a look at the Classics, or the Suburban East Conference in football. There's White Bear Lake 4-1, Mounds View 4-1. They're playing on Friday night to see who can get that 5-1 record and keep up with the undefeated Creighton-Durham Hall Raiders.
Yeah, and they're just hoping that somebody knocks off Creighton-Durham Hall. Woodbury's got Creighton-Durham Hall here, don't they?
Yep, in a couple weeks. So it's going to be a very interesting Suburban East Conference. And looking at Classic Suburban, there's St. Thomas Academy on top, 4-0. Montemita not doing bad as well, 3-1, along with Hail Mary and Tartan 1-3. And so very interesting Classic Suburban Conference as well. A lot of interesting stuff as we close out these conference schedules here in football.
A lot of good teams in those two conferences.
And really quickly, want to thank Adam Plorin getting these lights set up. Orange and black celebrating the White Bear Lake homecoming victory this week. Head on over to our...
He's biased.
He's biased.
We can't promise we'll do that for everybody,
Right.
but we did it this week.
We will do it a couple
plus
weeks
it's
as well.
Halloween's coming up,
Yes,
so
yes,
orange and
yes.
black, you know.
Right. Let's take a look at the standings now. We missed the boys soccer. Let's take a look at the boys soccer standings. And you see Classic Suburban right away. Tim, North St. Paul doing fantastic.
Oh, they do have those twin brothers on their team, and yeah, very good soccer team. We'll be seeing them here shortly on TB19. We'll have that game for you coming up here later on in the week. And also in the Suburban East over here, not so good for White Bear Lake, kind of that middle part of the pack, but you know, a game away from being 500, and you got to enjoy being 500.
Right. Look at the positives, Tim, and we'd like to invite you to head on over to facebook.com/TV19sports and like us to receive updates on your favorite teams.
Facebook.com TV19sports.
That's right.
Pretty much you just type in, go on to Facebook and look up TV19 Sports and find us, right?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Well, good luck to the Minnesota Lynx. They're going for the championship, and hope they can bring that championship home to Minnesota.
All right, that's right, Tim. And I'm Zach Halverson.
I'm Tim Peterson.
And that's your Sports Path.